Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, is she playing with me? Down to date? Or down to... I can't say the word because I don't want to get demonetized. But I got two different emails from two different guys. One's in Australia. He's 29. He's working with a really cute 22-year-old girl. And he had asked her out, and then, or they started messaging. As soon as he asked her out, she just ghosted him. But obviously they see each other at work. And then she kind of starts messaging and being flirtatious. He asked her out again, and then nothing. She reaches out, sends him the famous female pickup line of, hey, tries to make a date, nothing. And then I got a second email, and this particular guy, he's 41, and he met this 25-year-old girl that works at the gym that he frequents. And so looks like two different women hitting on him. He mentioned something about a date because one of the girls originally had a boyfriend, and then he comes in the next time. She's like, I'm thinking about breaking up with my boyfriend. And then the next time, she's like, I'm definitely going to break up with my boyfriend. She gives him her number. That he doesn't ask her out. He's just kind of not really doing anything. And so these two emails are what I liked about both these situations is it really brings into play a woman's state of mind in a particular moment. In other words, she might be in a different headspace. You might talk to her, bump into her, try to make a get together. She's not having it, in a few days or a week or two later, she's more open to it. But you got to kind of know when to try to plan a date, or is this girl just looking for attention and validation, or is she just down to hook up and is hoping you kind of understand what she's trying to communicate with you. So let's go through the first guy's email. He says, Dear Corey, I'm a 29-year-old male in Australia. I work with a 22-year-old girl. After working with her for 4 months, I decided to ask her out over Instagram. Well, it's kind of weak to do that. You guys work together and you see each other every day, and then you kind of send her a message through Instagram when you could have just as easily talked to her in person when you're hanging out, because it's obvious, you'll see from the email, that they do things together as a company. And so there's chances to do things socially. And so he works with her for 4 months and then sheepishly sends her a message on Instagram. So that's not helping your case. It's making you look like you don't have the confidence to be direct in person. And a lot of women typically are surprised by this behavior because they interact with these guys. They think the dudes like them, and then months later they send them some kind of sheepish message on Facebook or Instagram or some other social media asking them out when they're like, why didn't he just ask me out in person? We see each other all the time. Because you got to remember, the number one most important thing that women find attractive in men is confidence. And if you know somebody for 4 months and then you send her a message sheepishly on Instagram, that's not displaying a lot of confidence. It communicates that you're kind of afraid of rejection, especially when you interact inside and outside of work all the time because you do things together socially as a group. So anyways, he asked her out. She agreed and then didn't respond when he tried to make a date. He says, I played it cool at work like nothing ever happened. She started showing more interest in me and asked me for a kiss when she got drunk at a work event, but I didn't kiss her because there were work people around. Well, you simply take her by the hand and go somewhere where nobody will see you, and then you give her the kissy poo. Again, you chickened out. Not a good way to go. Girl wants to kiss you, you can kiss her. A kiss is just a kiss. But obviously, if she's super drunk, probably not a good idea to take her home because she could change her mind the next day. And it happens. You could get me too'd. Since then, things were pretty normal for the next month or so until she saw some strippers hitting on me when a bunch of us went to a strip club after our Christmas party. She looked really upset and started messaging me a week later with love hearts and tears of joy emoticons, so I asked her out again, to which she ghosted me again. Well, it's obvious her interest is not super high, but she likes the attention. When we got back to the office, she was acting like she was in love with me. Easy, dude. You want to underrate her interest in you. Remember, you've asked her out twice and she ghosted you both times. She's always smiling at me, staring at me, checking me out, and giving me attention. She also messages me outside of work a couple of times with, hey. Well, when you get a hey like that, you're like, come over. Just say come over and send her your address. Especially if it's at night after like 10 o'clock and she's, hey, you got to assume she's maybe in a different headspace and she's looking to burn, chicka, burr, burr. You don't need to go out on a date or anything like that at that point. Just say, hey, you should come over. Send her your address. Or just come over and then send her your address. See what happens. She asked me to mind her desk, so I did, and I saw a little erotica book on her desk. I wasn't sure if she left this there intentionally for me to see or to arouse me or instigate me to try to hook up with her. I was tempted to ask her for friends with benefits, but I didn't. Yeah, come on, dude. Have you even read the book yet? Seriously, bro. It's like, what is this? He says, I kept acting normal and not paying her much attention, and she went crazy, and she seemed sad when she heard I was going to dinner with a friend. She eventually said to me, I'm bored. We should go for a drink. He says, I can't now. I'm busy until 5. Don't you have that thing on tonight? She responded telling me what she was doing that night and didn't mention anything else. I said cool and walked away as if I found she wasn't generally asking me out. I may have only considered it if it was during work hours. I don't think she's stuffed up here, right? Or I don't think I stuffed up here, right? Well, if she wants to go out for a drink, you should assume she wants to hang out and make something happen. But it's like you just kind of, what do I do? Does not compute. Danger, Will Robinson. I know people appreciate my robot imitation. So you guys are welcome. The last 2 weeks, she hasn't been paying me much attention, and I think it's because she's talking to another guy. Yeah, maybe she's talking to a guy who picks up on little subtle things. But like I said, it seems like at different times this girl's in a different headspace, and that's why, when a girl's texting you, hey, especially if it's late at night, she's probably horny and is down to burn, chicka, burr, burr. Just invite her over. I mean, you work together. It's not like this is some stranger you talk to for 5 minutes on a dating app. This is a girl you work together with for, obviously at this point, I don't know, 6, 8 months, a year. So it's not like you're a stranger. You spend a lot of social time together doing work things, so it's obvious she's comfortable, but it's like you're not picking up on the subtle cues of when the girl's asking you to make out with her. Yeah, she had a few drinks, but take her hand, go around the corner where nobody's looking, make out with her. And then you can hang out later. I feel like I've done everything right in this situation. Are you sure about that, bro? But I am struggling to accept that she doesn't like me despite me doing everything right. Your opinion would be appreciated. Well, you're not doing everything right, dude. Kind of the opposite. You haven't read the book. It's like there's no way you've read the book. It looks like you're cherry picking from videos. Bad way to go. But like I said, there's some hints there, especially when you get the hey, if it's like 10 o'clock at night. And you get, hey, I mean, she's asking you to go for a drink, and you're like, I just walked away, coach. I gave her no contact. You gotta learn the material. Because you get little subtle things like this, little subtle cues, and then you don't know how to react to it because you don't know the material. Well, let's go to the second guy's email. He says, hey, coach, I've read 3% Man 10 times at this point. I'm a 41-year-old man. And this 25-year-old girl, she works at the gym that I frequent daily. This girl a few weeks back commented on how good my clothes looked that day. Well, typically if a woman's commenting on your appearance, oh, I like that shirt on you. Oh, I like that color on you. That looks good on you. I like your shirt. She's typically saying, hey, you look attractive. I didn't think much of it, but that got her on my radar. I'm the sort of person that talks with everyone everywhere I go and always make an impression. Around Valentine's Day, she started to talk to me about how her boyfriend doesn't take her out on dates, and she said he doesn't do anything for Valentine's Day, then she's going to break up with him. I said, well, if you break up with him, my schedule opens up on March 5th, and I'll take you on a real date. I would have probably said something, well, after March 5th, I'm available to help you out with some rebound sex if it doesn't work out. I'll see if I can fit you in. I would have said something like that. The next day I go in there, and the first thing she says is she's getting rid of people in her life and asks for my phone number. Obviously, I would have given it to her. A few days later, I walked in, and she told me that she broke up with her boyfriend and was giving all of his stuff back. My reply was, text me your address and be ready on March 5th at 6 p.m. And then I did my workout. Yeah, it's kind of weird, dude. I wouldn't do that. It's just you're trying to facilitate getting together. It doesn't have to be all formal and He's like, take the stick out of your ass and just be a little looser. I would have said something like, well, when you give him all his stuff back and you're reach out to me and maybe we'll get together for some drinks. And maybe a little kissy poo. If you play your cards right. A few days ago, another girl from the gym got my number from her and texted me to ask when I was coming in that day. And I told her, well, guess who popped up to hang out on her day off for my entire workout and left when I left? I assume her. The next day, the same coworker texted me and asked again what time I was coming in that day, and guess who popped up again on her day off and hung out for the entire time I was there? Women put themselves into your orbit when they like you, but you have to do something about it, not go, this does not compute. They're giving me interest. Do I make a date? When I saw her walk in, as I was checking, I said, did you sit in the car until I walked in? And then both girls stopped me when I was leaving and talked to me about my dog, career, and such. That night, she finally texted me her number, since I had never asked her for it. I haven't texted her as I'm not trying to get to know her over text. Bro, come on. Girl's asking for your number, she messages you, and you're like, I'm not trying to get to know you over text. I'm not going to do anything. I'm a robot. It does not compute. Danger, Will Robinson. Error 404. If she texts you, it's like, hey, let's get together. Or you could have just, if it's late at night, again, if it's 9, 10 o'clock at night, it was like, hey, come over. Send her your address. Probably just show up. This girl will playfully make comments about how I am arrogant at times, how my daughter is beautiful. So you got a girl, you got a daughter. So that obviously means that you're safe and they know you. They're sending you their numbers. It's like, how more obvious do you want her to be? It's like almost like this dude's waiting for her to say, hey, here's my number. Call me. I want to come over and have sex with you. Women are typically not going to do that. It's like you're supposed to be the man. You say you've read this, 10 times or whatever, but when I look at what you're doing here, it's like these girls are being pretty obvious, and you're like, no contact, How I don't like the music that she likes, and my reply has been, it's not my fault you like bad music, as I refuse to seek her approval. Yeah, but you don't turn into a statue, dude. These girls are trying to get your attention and want you to arrange something. They put themselves in your orbit in exactly the way they talk about in the book, and you're like, my gears are broken. What do I do? She even Googled my email address that is in the gym database to find out what my business and stage name is, and couldn't wait to tell me that she found it. They obviously like you. I'd say they're down to hook up. Just invite them over. Invite them to meet up for a drink. It's so simple. It's like the other guy. It's like you get good opportunities, and then you're like, and then there's like not really an opportunity, and still you're like, After my workout yesterday, she stopped to ask me about my day. Then she just randomly blurted out how she's on a dating app and has no interest in meeting any of her matches and was just there to cure boredom. In other words, she'd say, will you please ask me out? Jesus, did your balls drop or what? Come on. I sort of nodded my head and told her that I don't need dating apps as the world is my dating app. The world is my dating app, but I don't ask anybody out when they're basically throwing their panties at me. Today when I walked in, she was working and I asked her how her night was, and she replied, I met a mutual friend and spent the night at his house. In other words, you weren't man enough to do anything about it, so I got by somebody else. I just nodded my head and started talking to her about gym stuff. It's none of my business what she does, but I know she wanted a reaction, and I wasn't going to give it to her. What is the kitty cat doing here? Trying to be pretty obvious, but getting pretty bored with the fact that you're not doing anything. I know a lot of games and tests are happening right now, but I still haven't gotten her address for our date. I must get a date. It must be official date. I must pick you up. Dude, hang out, have fun, hook up. The 3 H's. Your job in the courtship as the man, the one with the penis, is to create an opportunity for sex to happen, to hang out, to have fun, to hook up. And he's like,
March 5th, March 6th, official date. You must do what I want. I can't compute anything else.
He says, how would the coach proceed here? Well, if the girls are messaging you and they're dropping all kinds, they're doing everything but throw their panties at you, just arrange a get-together. It's so simple. If she's texting you, arrange a get-together. It says right in the book. If a woman is reaching out to you through text or a social media app or calling you, you got to assume she wants to see you. And so she does these things like,
I must get a date. She must say yes to my date.
It's like, man, where is Captain Obvious when you need him? I mean, Captain Obvious was like here the whole time, and he's just, must get a date. It's terrible. I'm sure everybody that was watching this enjoyed this, and they're going, God, what is with these guys? But it's obvious. I did stupid stuff like this when I was younger, and I didn't know any better. But this guy's 41. It's like, wow. Anyways, next time you hear from her, assume she wants to see you and make dates. Write in the book. You said you read it 10 times, but it's like, have you ever practiced anything that's in the book? It's not going to help you if you read the book 10 times or 100 times and you don't ever practice it. But it's pretty obvious that all three of these different girls were interested in these guys. But again, it's headspace where, when he first starts talking to the girl he's working with, she's got a boyfriend, but she's basically saying, hey, I'm going to be single soon. Hopefully you will make a date when I'm single and take me out and beat up my pelvis, or invite me over so you can beat up my pelvis. Because again, social proof. He's got a daughter of his own. These girls are giving him their number. They're gossiping and talking about him, showing up when he's working out at the same time. It's like, you can't expect her to be the man, dude. It's like, you got to take some leadership here and take some responsibility and take the stick out of your ass and stop acting like a robot. Man, so obvious. Right over their heads. So if you got a question or a challenge, go to and you need my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.